As soon as I saw this hyper cobalt variation on the Nike Dunk Low coming out, I was just drawn to it straight away, like really drawn to it. I do not know why. For me, this is a very standard looking Dunk Low, and we've seen a few of them in recent times, but something about it just really speaks to me. And it might be something like this right here. That's the Street Hawker, which is a very busy shoe and a busy collaboration. It might be that those kind of shoes with a lot going on has been what's mostly been coming from the Dunk line in recent times, and here we are with this today, a much more simple shoe, and that might be it. But there actually might be two isn't on this shoe that really drew me in, because there are a couple of places on the shoe, if they'd been something else, I probably wouldn't have liked it. So because the swoosh isn't something and the lining isn't something else, that might be what's drawn me in. And also I can't help but look at the lopsided branding on the back of Dunk Lows. I always kind of like that little E on the back there and how they never managed to fit that quite in, and you can see it on the green screen behind me right now. But these come in the full size run, from the very small little tiny little kids shoe right the way up to the men's, and we know that the men's heel looks like this. Do you know what the other size variants look like with that E? Does it get all lopsided on the smaller shoes like the grade schools and the toddlers? And we'll look at that today as well. So without further ado, let's get into this and have a look at the upcoming release of the Nike Dunk Low Hyper Cobalt. This is the Tokyo Bara 23 Sneaker Channel. Tokyo Bara 23 Sneaker Channel です。毎日アップするので、毎日見てください. And every single day from Tokyo, Japan, I bring content about upcoming sneaker releases, sneaker news, and sneaker reviews. And today it's these beautiful Hyper Cobalts that are in the spotlight right here. And as I was saying at the top of this video, for some reason these guys just drew me right in, and I just love the look of this shoe. It could be that black blue variant on the top. It could be just the richness of the blue, which the cobalt, not just blue, and that gives you something to really feel a kind of sense of the luxurious feel to the shoe. And it could be a lot of different reasons, and I'll be going through a bunch of those with you guys today, and then showing you some of the great details on the shoe. So first things first though, I want to get into that thing I said about the lopsided branding on the back. If you guys know your Dunk Lows, you know that that E on the back is kind of legendary, and how they never managed to fit that in to the little branding panel on the back there is kind of a funny little thing for sneakerheads and sneaker fans out there. And I'm sure they could easily fix it. The technology exists to work it out properly so it doesn't do that, but they never do, and I like that. I think it brings authenticity to the shoes, and it makes it have that sort of feel of realness, especially when it's something to do with the Nike Dunk Lows are very synonymous with skateboarding, and it's more a street feel than a sort of polished, cleaned feel, and that's a good thing that they've got it this way. So so the question though was, how about the other size runs? How do these guys look in grade school or even smaller with the Litlins? So we'll go over and have a look at the grade school. Before I get there, do you know? Are you looking at this and saying, yeah, I already know this? Or are you like, I wonder if they have or haven't been able to get that E in there? And I'll put you out of your misery right now with a shot right here. Doing, there it is right there. And you can see for sure on the grade schools that E is lopsided and doesn't quite fit in just the same as on the big full size run, the adult size or men's size, if you want to call it that. So, but then we get into the Litlins, the smaller feet for the smaller little children out there, and we wonder what's going on with those. We'll look at the actual shoe first, which is a very nice looking shoe. There's something about it that I think is very cool, so it's a very nice shoe if you want to get that for your Litlins. But then also we have to ask that question, does the E fit in? And sadly I haven't been able to find a proper shot of it except for this right here, and hopefully what you'll do is agree with me and say that the E doesn't look like it's compromised on the small version of these. It looks like it fits in just right on there. So to answer question number one, yes on men's, yes on grade school, that E is lopsided, but when it comes to the smaller version, it doesn't look like it is. So so that's a thing that I was interested in. It's kind of fun to look at that little part of it. But then also that question about the isn't. There's two things on the shoe that aren't a certain way, and maybe it's because of that is why I really like them. So the first of those things we want to look at is the swoosh, and what we're talking about is the fact that this swoosh is blue, and I think that's what it is that I really like about this shoe. I was looking at it and looking at it, trying to work out what it is about this shoe that I just really like, and I think it's partly to do with the fact that the swoosh isn't black and it isn't white. They maybe could have gone with white, maybe a 5% or 3% chance of that, or maybe a 40% chance that they would have gone with the black swoosh on the side. But the fact that they went with the blue one, even though it sort of melds into the heel section of the shoe a little bit, it's still, I think that's the thing that draws me in on this, is the swoosh on these guys. And another place that isn't for me is the lining. The lining isn't white. If the lining had been white, I think I probably would have been looking at these and thinking, you know what, it's just, there's too much brightness or lightness on there. It's the darkness of the black and the darkness of the blue that sort of, it pulls it right down. It's a very rich feel to it, and I think that for me is what makes the Hyper Cobalt one of the nicest, cleanest, simple dunk lows we've got in recent times. So happy with those kind of details on there, but there are other details, some interesting branding points in the shoe, and some great choices elsewhere. So let's get into that as well for today. So first things first, what I want to do is highlight something that's I've been playing around with it a little bit at the channel. So what we'll do is we'll start with the tongues here. And maybe you guys already know this, but for me, there's been a real trend recently in sneakers where the tongue branding is inverted on the insole. So the tongue branding on these guys, right at the top of the tongues there, you can see that it's a blue branding on a black branding panel. So if you went with the current sort of way of doing things in sneakers recently, the current style, if you've got blue branding on a black tongue, then you would look to see black branding on a blue insole. So it's reversed, it's inverted for that. So I was expecting to see that. I've seen that a lot recently on a lot of the shoes that we've done. But if you pan back from the tongues on these guys, as I'm surely doing on the green screen here, you can see that surprise is that on the insole, these guys, all of a sudden, a sort of orange, a popping orange Nike branding on the inside of these. I have no idea why. None whatsoever. It full on surprised me. I was like, why would you do that? It's not anywhere near the colorway, and I have no idea if they have a particular reason for choosing to do this sort of popping orange on their insole when everything else in the shoe is black and blue, with the exception of the midsole. So that really surprised me. It took me a bit by surprise. And then speaking of the lower units on the shoe, might as well go down past that swoosh that I like so much and see the midsole on there. You can see the midsole in white, which again is an important feature, I think, of the shoe. They could easily have gone with blue or black on here to complete the shoe and have it just the two colors in blue and black all over. But the white is super important for me. It holds the rest of the shoe together. It gives a point of color in that sort of bright point of color in that very dark shoe. And imagine what this would have looked like with a black midsole or a blue midsole on there. And equally important to that, though, is that they do have a blue outsole to finish off the shoe and finish off the colorway. So I'm like very happy with what they've done on the outsole and the midsole section of these guys, because I think they could have gone any other way, but the way that they chose to go was just right for the sort of narrative of the shoe. And again, though, that reinforces the strangeness that is, let's go back to them and have a look at that insole. I just don't understand what they're kind of aiming for in there, what their hopes were in putting an orange piece of branding on the insole of these guys. Now yesterday's shoe, what did we look at yesterday? It was an Air Force One, and it was the 3M Snakes, and I loved that shoe, especially because the upper on that guy was a very black versus silver, and then the swoosh on the side kind of bridged those two colors on the shoe there. But and it was a very nice shoe. And then today we got that really nice Hyper Cobalt, and then tomorrow we're going down an interesting avenue with some Jordan 3s, cool greys, which kind of take you on a bit of a roller coaster. Yesterday and today's shoes have been a very sort of straight shot where everything has been very simple and laid out for you, and you kind of know what you're getting with the exception of that insole. But tomorrow it's all up and down with those Jordan 3 greys, cool greys. They're a really beautiful shoe, but there's some hits that are just really surprising and frankly disappointing, and then some things on it's just like, wow, they've got that absolutely right. So there's plenty going on at the channel, plenty more to look forward to as we keep on churning out the content. I've got a little bit of stock in hand, as we say, maybe 2 or 3 days worth of videos still to process, so I'm not quite chasing my tail as I have been for the last 2 or 3 weeks, where I'm literally doing videos the day before and just managing to keep this daily content going, which has been a a challenge for the last couple of weeks, but still unbroken 785 consecutive days or something like that on YouTube. Got a bit close, the last few weeks, so hopefully we'll be able to build up some stock and keep things a little bit safer than it has been in the last few weeks. So with that being said, time for me to shoot off. Got plenty to do right now, so I'll just thank you guys for checking out the content, and I'll do what I do at the end of every single video, which is tell you that I truly appreciate people for checking out the content and remind you that I do this every single day, and that means that you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.